Yosef, do you see there's a light switch right there, right behind you? Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. Yofi. We're going to finish Perek Shalosh, Perek Shlishi over here. Amen. Amen. Okay. That's kacha. We're going to finish today the third chapter in the teachings of the Maimer Anila Dodi B'Dodi of the Alter Rebbe. And we're going to hopefully, if we have enough time, start the fourth one. But just a quick recap. The last thing we spoke about was the concept of a person that his life is a desert. Remember that his life is a desert. Eretz lo zurah, nothing can be planted there. And what we spoke about is that we're not just talking a desert life is not just a life where nothing good happens. It's not that only bad happens, but even the stuff that you do, I think the way he explained it was also dvarim of heter that are not needed for avodat Hashem, and dvarim betelim also fall into the category of a midbar, of a desert. So it's not just bad things. It's also things that are like, doesn't matter. He didn't use that word here, but we could probably use that for here. Yeah, he didn't say that here yet, but let's say that's them. So the Rebbe said that the eitzah for something like this is that dafka, you have to go there to the place, he says you look for lost objects in the place where you lost them. For instance, I can't find my keys. Where's the last place you you used them, right? So usually when people ask us that question, we get very irritated. It's like if I knew where, if I remembered the last place I used it, it'd be easy for me to spot them. Like if, for instance, I lost my shoes or whatever, I only found one shoe. I only found one shoe. So the whole Inyan would be, so look in the place where that first shoe, you found the first shoe. So the Alter Rebbe is saying that the most important thing to remember is to go and look for the thing that you lost in the place where you lost it. Now, where did you lose it is already a whole nother shaila. That's like a very deep question. And we started speaking about this last time. If you look in the top of Yutet, the second page, like the place to look for these lost objects is the concept of Hashem Elokecha. This Kel, this concept of Yisrael again. Perush ki neksiv vayar Elokim es haor ki tov, Perush razal ki tov loganos, shebechinas or, shehu bechinas he'aras pnimius ritzono yizbarach, yesh b'kol echad ve'echad miYisrael. Ela shehu b'chinas hester ve'helem me'od b'tiv'o. But really, this concept of the light that was hidden and concealed from the creation of the world, it exists within each and every person, but it's very, very concealed, and you have to, in order to find what you lost, which is this connection to the light of the infinite, which exists within each and every one of us, you have to be megale otzar shel yirat shamayim, like the Alter Rebbe said. You have to discover within you a reservoir of having fear of heaven. So by certain people, like we said before, this concept of this fear of heaven, of this connection, is absolutely lost. It's like it fell into captivity. It's like in exile. So therefore it says, Al ze ne'emar, next page, in Chaf, uvikashtem, שתבקש ותחפש, ואין חיפוש אלא אחר אבידה, דהיינו דבר שהוא עבודה אצלו בחינת גלות, שהוא בחינת ניצוץ אלוקות הנ"ל. וזהו עת השם אלוקיך, שהוא נמשך מבחינת כל השורה בכל אדם להחיות נפשו האלוקית. And this concept of looking for Hashem Elokecha comes from again, we're connecting to the word kel. Again, what's kel? The first attribute of the 13 attributes of mercy. And what the Alter Rebbe is drawing us to is to feel Rahmanas on yourself. Like that's the theme of this teaching. Now, there's self-pity and there's self-compassion. Two completely different topics. I'm sure you saw a bunch of TED Talks on this, or you've heard about a bunch of things that have been written about these concepts. The difference between self-pity and self-compassion.
The Rebbe is using kel to bring down rachamim. What's he using rachum for?
Hashem. Interesting. Love.
Kel, rachum v'chanun. So if the kel is bringing the rachamim, what's the rachum?
Great question. And of course, he's gonna answer in a second. But it's a good question. Nachum seems like that should be rachamim. וזהו עת השם אלוקיך שהוא נמשך מבחינת קהל השורה בכל אדם להחיות נפשו אלוקית. Now we're in the bottom paragraph on דף כף. Okay, this is where we stopped last time. והנה הכתוב אומר, so the Torah says, וביקשתם משם. You have to search from there. משם דייקה. דווקא from there. What is there?
Desert?
We're going to see in a second. Look at footnote 30 on the bottom. וראה הגעת הצמח צדק כאן, שזהו דיוק הלשון, וביקשתם משם. What's משם? כי מקום ומשכן הקליפות נקרא שם. Sham, there, וביקשתם משם, from what place? From the place where the klipos are residing. The dwelling of the מקום ומשכן הקליפות is called נקרא שם. כלומר, עמוק מאוד למטה, very deep down inside. מה שאין כן, צד הקדושה נקרא זה. So the place of Kedusha is called the place of Zeh. This, the place of Klipos is called Sham. What's the difference between this and there? It's good. It's a good thing, yeah. If I say something is there, it means it's further away, Misham. But if I say Zeh, that's more like here, this. So it's a beautiful thing. Uvikashtem misham es Hashem Elokecha. So dafka from the place where your klipot have what's called hitztabrut, this accumulation of klipot, dafka from there you're going, but it's not you. See, that's the most beautiful thing here is that we have to do a voda of going down into the dirt to lift things up. But you have to remember that it's a place that's called there and not here. Ze chashuv me'od. That's very important. Those the shir. The women's shir yesterday in your house was all Boker Tov, was all about that. It was all about that.
So can that be the Anila Dodi with the Dodi from the Misham and then Vaytyatev Imo Sham?
Oh, Vaytyatev Imo Sham.
Sham, Vayikra B'Shem.
Very good. Listen to this. If Sham, Uvikashtem Misham, from there is a place where, that's where you have to do the work, because that's where the nitzots of the or of your neshama got lost. So the vayityatzeh imosham, you'll meet. That's beautiful. Did you? This is so beautiful. Vayityatzeh imosham, God standing there with you if you have enough guts to do the dirty work.
That's awesome.
It's yours.
No,
it's awesome. You just said it.
No,
it's awesome. It's your chiddush. It's beautiful. That's such a deep thing what you just said. Vayityatzeh imo sham, vayikra b'shem Hashem. And then you call it b'shem Hashem because you see, oh Hashem, you were waiting for me here. Like it's almost like, okay, it got lost. Maybe it's my fault. This spark, this godliness spark, it got lost in this place called Sham, this place of the makom of the Mishkan of the Klipas. But when I have enough guts to do the work, I find Hashem with. That's so beautiful. Vayityatzeh imo sham. Yefeh me'od. Back in the text, we're on Daf Chaf, in the Perek Gimel, Daf Chaf, in the Maimer of the Alter Rebbe. V'hine HaKatuv Omer, Uvikashtem misham daika. Dafka from there is where you go and seek and do the work. Ki keshem she'if shar lechapes achar aveda ulemotz'a zulat b'makom shene'evda. Just like you can't search for what you lost and find it other than the place where it was lost. Kach lo yasig oy pnei Hashem. You can't find the pnimius of Hashem. Or to feel the love of Hashem and the yira al panav, ki im achara chipus tchila b'makom shene'evda lo. First, it has to be in the place where it was initially lost. Al derech ma shekatuv nachpesa drachenu, sheyipashpesh b'ma'asav v'diburav u'machshavotav she'avru v'chalfu miyom hiyato asher lo tovim. The tshuva of all year long, but it takes a higher road in Elul, is looking and searching for all the places that fell into a klipa called Sham. It's there. It's not really me, but it was taken in, part of me was taken into captivity through this stuff that's asher lo tovim. ועל ידי זה יתמרמר ליבו בקרבו וישוב אל השם וירחמהו, the Alter Rebbe says. And through this, there'll be a hitmarmerut alev. That means there'll be like a crying in the heart. And you'll come back to Hashem and there'll be rachmanis on you. Why? Dehainu. We're in the third to the bottom line in this paragraph. Dehainu. Sheyeorer rachamim rabim al nitzotz elokut shebetocho bivchinat galut. This is very important. You will arouse tremendous amount of rachamim on the spark of godliness which is in you, which is in the aspect which is fell into galut. Okay, this is a very important yesod. One of the most important words in davening of Shmona Esrei. Morning. One of the most important words in the davening of Shmona Esrei is the word. My brother probably made this word very, very famous. I would think it's called lemancha. Because what does that mean when I say that? When I say, Zochen l'chaim melech hafetz b'chaim mechotvenu b'sefer ha'chaim lemancha elokim chaim. What am I basically saying? What's lemancha? What does that mean? For your sake, right? So when I ask Hashem to have rachmanis on me, what am I really, if I'm really tuned into what the pnimius of that request is, what am I really asking Hashem to have rachmanis on? Huh? Himself. On himself. Why? Because you're in me. Have rachmanis on the piece of you that's in me that fell into galus. That's what the Alter Rebbe just said. The basic 101. Tanya 101. Mamash Tanya 101. But in order to get to a level that I could actually ask to have that bakasha and mean it, that's already something else. Like I could really detect and say, it's really not about me, it's really about you. That's what we're striving for. To be able to say that as a vort is a beautiful thing. To feel that when I say the bakasha is the deepest depths in the world. Le'orer rachamim rabim al nitzotz elokut shebetocho bivchinat galut. Hashem, that godly spark with which you created me and you placed in me with my existence, it fell into captivity. It was taken into captivity by who? By the klipot that I created by my thoughts, words, and actions, asher lo tovim. It didn't just take me, the part of me, the my nefesh bahamis. It even took my nefesh, it took part of of the light in me and put it into captivity as well. So now he ends off here this beautiful parak by saying like this, with the second to bottom line. This is, you have to see this inside, this is very important. ועל זה נאמר ליעקב אשר פדה את אברהם. That's what Yeshaya Navi says. That Yaakov redeemed Avraham. Interesting. כי מידת יעקב הוא מידת הרחמנות. The midah of Yaakov is the midah of Rachmanus. שעל ידי זה, through the midah of Rachmanut, פודה מהגלות מידת האהבה. Through the midah of Rachmanus, you redeem from captivity, from galus, the midah of love. Hi midato shel Avram Avinu alav hashalom. Ki lachen nikra Avinu. That's why Avram Avinu is called our father. Liot bara kara de'avua. Libatel ulikalel birtzono yitbarach. But let's go back to the previous page of the Perush. We're going to end this by reading the Perush on the bottom. Al yedei, you see the bottom left column on Chaf. Al yedei hitorerut rachamim rabim ala nitzotz ha'eloki. When by arousing compassion, I think, what do you think, guys? What's the best word for rachamim in this context? Is it mercy or is it compassion? By arousing...
How are they different?
Yeah, that's why. It is different. Compassion, mercy sounds to me like, obviously, like, we always say, it doesn't sound so Jewish. That's the problem. Mercy, right? But compassion is more like... have Rahmanas. Mercy is like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Mercy versus compassion.
One and the same.
Huh?
One and the same.
Same? Okay. Anybody else have any other opinion?
Are there two separate words for the two in Hebrew?
Chemla, yeah.
Is
compassion.
compassion.
I think, no?
I mean, yeah. Chemla is, yeah, compassion. We're comparing the midah of kev, right?
Right.
To whatever word we're going to use.
Exactly. Kel rachum v'chanon.
Right, and kev is also, it's midah tiferet emet. So it's like, it can't be just mercy, it's balance.
Right. So what's the full?
It's Yaakov Avinu.
It's Yaakov Avinu. It's the balanced midah of both. And now he's going to say here that balanced midah, which is represented usually by Rahmanut, we call it Rahmanut, redeems the midah of love which was taken into captivity. Yaakov asher pada es Avram. We say this all the time, right? Let's see again in this perush. Al yedei hitorerut rachamim rabim al hanitzotz haeloki podim oto migaluto. כמו שנאמר, כה אמר Hashem לבית Yaakov asher pada et Avram. So spoke God to the house of Jacob, who redeemed Abraham. Lefi pshuto, hatevot asher pada et Avraham, the words that say that redeemed Abraham, kai al amar Hashem. That's written about God. That God said, I did this. Kilu ne'emar, ko amar Hashem, asher pada et Avraham lebeit Yaakov. It's as if the pasuk said, God redeemed Abraham, who belonged to the house of Jacob. Ulam pashtuta lashon mashma'a, the Alter Rebbe is saying, really no. Yaakov, it's Yaakov. It's what Yaakov's all about that redeemed Avraham. Umevuar betorat hasod, and it's explained in the more Kabbalistic teachings. The Yaakov midat harachamim, ve'Avraham midato midat ha'ahava, like it says, V'Avram Avinu ve'Avraham ohavi. Lefamim, רק ביכולתה של מידת הרחמים לפדות ולעורר את האהבה. This is beautiful. Sometimes it's only through the ability of the midah of rachamim that can come and awaken the midah of love. Why? כי על ידי התעוררות רחמים רבים, through the arousal of a lot of compassion, Mizgale hanitzotz haeloki shebesoncho. By arousing a lot of compassion, the godly spark is revealed within you, which is the mekor of the regesh of ahava l'Hashem. Ledavka bo belev v'nefesh me'omka deliba m'mesiras nefesh. I want us to think about this about our children right now, okay? Our child messed up. A child, I don't know. We get the call from the principal's office, we get the call from whatever, your child, blah, 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 fill in the blank. Not that it happened to anyone here, but if it ever will happen in the future, you should know how to deal with it, right? Sorry. So, anyway, if
It happened to me last year.
yeah? So, okay, so what's the initial, gut thing, besides, I'm gonna kill you? The initial gut thing is, where's my child? Where's my child? Where's the baby pictures? Where's that kid from the baby pictures? Where's my child? Efo, where's that love? Where's that spark? Where's that love? Where did it go? So the way for you and the child to see themselves in that light is to have so much compassion over the child that they're struggling so much because they lost. It seems, maybe on the outside, that they lost that imagery of how you look at them or how they maybe possibly could look at themselves. Maybe. Right?
Well, yeah, but we're trying to, so that's one way to think about it. The other way to say is, the midah of Avraham Avinu is this beautiful love that is a must for the world to exist, right?
Right.
But that love, it flows over into bad places. I'm not going to respond to my kid getting in trouble with the principal's office. I love you. You probably didn't do it.
Right.
I have to address it. So,
Right.
So then, boundless love goes to a dangerous place, and we all know where that goes. Then there's gvura to balance that, to restrict that which is given. But then boundless gvura, we know where that goes also.
Right.
That's harshness and all the other terrible things. So then.
Balanced gvura and balanced love is Yaakov. Is Yaakov. Very good.
And so that's drawing out from the love, the fall, because love goes to really bad places. We see in America. America's we see what's happening with love.
Right.
Or anywhere else in the world, or in Israel for that matter.
Right.
We see where love boundless goes. So
Right.
if we want to get back this awesome, beautiful thing, the reason for God creating the world, love.
Right. Nachon.
Then we need that then Rachamim comes in to say, okay, let's get back to the good parts of love.
So
Gvura
that's
is
what
a
he's.
filter. It doesn't have any it has a purpose.
That's a great page. That means Yaakov asher pada et Avraham.
Right.
That Yaakov, the midah of the balanced, all the balance is there,
Right.
and a life of balanced brings out natural, healthy compassion
Right.
and rachamim, whatever you want to say that about
So
that.
now the kid example is,
Yeah.
the kid example is, I think, my initial reaction is probably not the same as yours. Mine is the gvura. I'm like, I'm gonna kill him. I can't believe what they did. Like, this is my kid, my name. You know, like all the gvura stuff that comes
It's
out.
my name.
Yeah,
That's the evil. My name. That's the evil.
All the,
Oh boy.
all the guys,
Name. If you didn't have a name, it'd be fine. He could kill. He could kill every. It doesn't matter what he does. He could. He could pull every teacher's pants down. He could do every kid's pants down. I don't have a name. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with me.
I always felt terrible for the rabbi's sons, right? They're like,
Oh boy, they got. I had that. Not me. I had a little bit. Chazan's sons. Yeah.
So anyway, so if I look at the kid right now, I'm saying to the kid, okay, I know you did it, but I know that's not you, right? So the I'm filtering out. I'm like, I know the core you. The core you is great. It's good. We have to address your actions, your activities. That's balance. Gvura would be slap the kid.
Now, what happens if the kid doesn't? He says, "I don't know what you're talking about. That's not the real me. Actually, this was the real me."
Well, that's.
I mean, that's actually Perek Dalet, which we're going to get to.
Okay.
Mamash. That Perek Dalet is the kid saying, "I know that's what you say you see when you look at me, but trust me, that ship, that train,
Right.
that's not around anymore. You can keep on looking for it, but there's nothing there."
Well, I know you better than you know yourself.
Right,
and I'm
right.
telling you that this is who you really are.
Yeah, but when you say that, you also hear a belt coming out of the pants. With that
No, I'm saying
tone.
the
The
parent
father,
can say
I
that to
know,
the
they
child.
could say it.
Whatever.
Right.
It also depends what the kid did.
Nachon, but I'm just saying over here that they lost kivyachol in this context. This nekuda of nitzot eloki is in galut, and which enabled them to then act the way that they acted.
If you can somehow fast forward to the time when you're nifter and you're dependent on this kid for your aliyah, all of a sudden it's a different. Ooh.
This kid's gonna say, after 120 years, this kid's gonna say Kaddish over me.
Yeah. And
Wow.
whatever mitzvahs he does, that's your only
It's an
hope.
amazing parenting tool for, right? You should tell. That should be like parenting 101s, like when you're with little kids and they're up, keeping you up at night. One day this kid's gonna say,
The borrowed time right there.
right,
You're totally helpless.
right.
You're-
What if it's a girl though?
What's the difference?
Right, no, because the chiyuv to say Kaddish. Whatever, no, I'm just getting into it.
But
No, it's fine. Today people say
You
Kaddish.
just
Today
became
everyone
very
says-
Sephardi.
I know.
Kaddish is just one thing.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
there's
no,
other
I
mixes,
know,
there's
I
other
know,
mixes,
I know.
and you
I
know,
know.
it could be a girl, it could be a boy, and
I know, I was
it
kidding,
could
I
be
was
the other
kidding.
way around, and you don't know what you got. So
I was kidding. So the point of this perek is basically that I have to find ways to arouse this compassion on my godly soul, which is in galut, in order to come back to this place called Ahavat Hashem, Avram. Avram comes back to the picture through the midah of Yaakov, but really it's through the word lemancha. Not only knowing what that vort is, lemancha, it's for your sake, but to feel be'emet that when I take a look at my life, and this is very important for this, by next time this week, we're going to start to say lemancha elokim chaim in Ashmonasei next Monday morning, Shachrit Rosh Hashanah. We're going to start to say it already. So to have this consciousness of, okay, Hashem, I'm really asking for your sake, and that's a beautiful thing. It's for the godly peace in me, the peace of you that's in me. During Elul, I've searched for it to try. Bikashta Misham, I went to some dirty places to come to do Anila Dodi, and I found you there. And now I'm standing here and asking you for a year. For the sake of the peace of you that we now discovered has been in Galut, through the midah of Rachmanut, we've elevated it, we've kind of pulled it out, and now we're back in the place of being love. Yalla. So now we start Perek Dalet. Okay, now do you have the next Perek? There's copies here. Does everyone get? This is also just these prakim. I think it's just Perek Dalet and Perek Hey. Perek Dalet is beautiful. Do you have it? There should be enough here. Perek Dalet.
Thank you.
And as you see in the bottom of the Perush, it says, what's Tochen HaPerek? What's the constant, the context of this chapter? Etzot la'adam shenafal kol kach ad shenichrat meshorsho ve'eno margish et godel harachmanut shel alav. Eitzes to a person that they could eat a cheeseburger on Yom Kippur, and they'll look at you and be like, I'm sorry, I wish I felt it, I just don't. I don't. You ever meet a person like that? That be'emet, they're not trying to be a heretic. No, this is important. It's not lehachis. They're not the instigator. They're just saying, like, I have a friend like I didn't see for many years. Then I saw him a day after Tisha B'Av, and he told me what he did on Tisha B'Av. And I said to him, wow, that's pretty far out. He's like, what do you mean? And he didn't even know it was Tisha B'Av. And then when I told him, he was like, oh, wow, yeah, that's so interesting. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It's not lehachis. It's that this nitzotz of elokut is so deep in galut that it seems that it's nichrat, it's uprooted, it's removed from the root, from the shoresh. So what do you do with that? Ha'adam asher yipash, we're in the top. Ha'adam asher yipapesh b'ma'asav ve'lo yitareh b'midat rachmanut. Let's see a person that actually goes into, he's trying to be a better person, and they start getting their acts together, and they speak more nicely about people or whatever. But lo yitareh b'midat rachmanut ve'lo yitmarmer libo b'kirbo. He doesn't start having like agony in his heart over being far from Hashem. Maybe they just want to be like a better person, but it has nothing to do with Hashem. Im heyot shema'amik b'machshavto ech nafal nitzotz elokut begalut betoch nafsho. And even though in his machshava, he starts to see, wow, I never imagined in my wildest dreams I could get to such a place. Even if I don't feel it, what you're describing, I'll take your word for it for a second. Zot yasim elibo v'nasa alav mashal hazeh. He says, put this on your heart and take this parable. Again, what kind of a person are we talking about? We're talking about someone that wishes that they could feel, but they just don't. They want to feel. Aviv Geffen recently said in an article, he's doing like pretty amazing work these days, and he said in an interview recently, he said, you don't understand, my greatest dream in the world is to believe in God. What a wild statement.
He said it somewhere else.
Yeah.
This is the Nikuda. He says, for me, it's not, I don't want to la'amin, I don't want to believe, I would say la'gish.
La'gish sheyesh Elokim. Yeah.
He said, I know, la'gish et Elokim.
Et Elokim, yeah.
His whole thing was, it's not enough for me to believe. He's an artist.
I want to feel.
I want to feel it.
I once heard.
I respected that, yeah.
I once heard someone say that like feeling is a luxury. Like feeling is the gift that Hashem gives you. Like there's so many times in our avodas Hashem that sometimes when we feel it, we can fly. It's the best feeling in the world.
Right.
And sometimes we don't feel it. The only thing is, when you don't feel it, we don't say, okay, now I'm not going to put on my tefillin, and now I'm not going to daven to you, now I'm not whatever. But the feeling, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes that's just the gift. That's not like that's the matnas chinam. Like, okay, I'm going to allow you.
No, it is. What's the problem with today's generation? How are you going to get someone in by telling him a Torah like that?
It's so hard because everyone does what they feel.
Yeah.
It's almost
liberal.
impossible.
I feel like this. I feel like this is wrong. I feel
Yeah,
like
but that's why there's a whole debate right now online. I've been getting a lot of different just like real sincere questions. We go, what we think about this is that should slichas be with instruments or not? Did you see any of this? Because there is slichas everywhere today. Not everywhere, but but in many places today it's with instruments, right? Who went my father's time? Do you think it was slichas with instruments? Any of our parents slichas with instruments? There was anything upbeat about slichas? No. Did anyone feel anything? Probably yes, because back then there was a lot more twimus in the world. But today, to get a person to say you don't have to feel slichas, you just to come and say it, and hopefully you'll feel it. I'm not saying Khalil is what you're saying. It's just the reality is 80% of the youth of today will say, I'm just not interested in that Yiddish. It's just not going to work for me. You know why? Because I can go to somewhere else and feel something immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. So, what's the vort on that? So what is more important? What's more important? Bottom line, what's more important? It's not lechatchila. It's whatever you need in order to get inside. Once you're inside, you start doing the avoda. Then I can hear your voice. Once I'm committed that this is the life, then give me that voice. Then I'll hear that voice. Absolutely. But I have to first get in there. For some people, they don't. You know.
Yosef and I were talking about this last night. I'm sorry, just for the sake of talking around, I'm going to break confidence.
I was gonna say, if you weren't recording, I have a lot to say.
Apparently, he's mashlim here. He'll take it. He'll take it.
So he tells me
He's
here
got
he
you
is,
covered.
here he is, he's getting ready to go to sleep mode.
Right.
And the guy, he's not feeling the lick. So he goes, he prepares himself, and he listens to some Stevie Wonder on the way to sleep mode. And he feels like a champ, and he's coming in golden, and he gets in.
I love you. I am so happy you're here. You don't even. He doesn't even.
He just walks around.
He's us.
And he comes in, he's all Stevie'd up.
In the stone,
mid-fuck.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and this guy's doing this way above his my drink is look. He gets it, he goes, what the? I don't know, but I don't know what the instruments, the time, whatever it was. Guy goes, I don't feel a lick. I don't feel a lick, and I just don't. I'm sorry, I don't. But he said something that I thought of. He goes, but they do. But they do. What was the term you used for the program? What was
If I don't believe, at least I believe that everyone else here believes. What was happening is real.
What did that do to you? Did that enable you to go inside?
I couldn't break through all those layers.
But did it enable you to have slichas? To feel anything of slichas?
I felt gratitude that I was here and not where I was last year, the year before, the year before.
Okay, that's a level.
It was a level.
That's a level.
It wasn't. Dun, dun.
And you know what? You know what I heard.
Everyone else was in that. I'm like, wow.
And you know what Rabbi Nachman says? And maybe that's exactly where Hashem wants you to serve Him from that place at that moment. That's what Emunah is. That's Emunah. Emunah isn't serving Hashem for where I think I need to be in order to serve you. Emunah is from that place to serve Hashem Yisbarach. That's Gewalt what he says. Listen, we said this in Shul a few weeks ago, but the Rav Shitzer, the story, remember, he said he learned Simchas Torah from a guy that didn't know anything about Yiddishkeit. Do you guys remember this? I said it in Shul, where he saw someone.
That was his daughter.
No,
She got up and she was asleep and she got up and.
No, that's a different story. This is the story the Rav Shitzer saw. I don't know if he was a drunk, but a guy that everyone knew nothing about learning or Torah, but they saw him on Simchas Torah dancing like crazy. So they went up to him and said to him, "Why are you dancing? Come on, why are you dancing? It looks like you're with such besimcha. Come on." He's like, "Oh no, I know, but my brother's getting married today. My brother, like meaning this is their. Look at them. So why can't that be for me? Like he's orelus."
Remember
My brother?
The Zetzer in he says about the idea of your son's in prison and you're going to visit him.
Yeah.
You have to talk about like the legal procedures.
Yeah.
But like you're inside, so why not give him a big hug?
Exactly. You're in the. They let you in the cell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah. You have to talk about legal procedures, but like
Right.
take advantage. Love
Very
your son,
good.
hold him close. You know.
Very
It's
good.
Whenever you need to get him the door.
But I think that what you're saying is that sometimes you could even know it, but you just don't feel it. I mean, isn't that what Rav Nachman talks so much about das?
Of course.
It's all about the das.
But the ultimate das is to realize that there's never a place that says, here is not possible to serve Hashem. Meaning in this place that I'm in my head, it's like, you can't ever say, I have to be there. By the way, this is why right now there's, a lot of chevra, a lot of wives are not happy that the husbands are traveling to, there are many that are very happy and there are many that aren't so happy right now. It's understandable, right? Especially when Putin, and now they're going back between threats of saying, if something drops when we're there, don't say we didn't. You know what I mean? Like, so it's in the air. It's not, and lo b'shamayim, like it, right? It's not like crazy to think that something wild can happen.
Last
Right?
year was COVID, so
Every year it's something else. Let's just say al pi olam hazeh. It may be a little bit more in the air this year, right? Much more than COVID, in my opinion, right? Whatever COVID was,
pretty strong.
whatever it isn't.
Don't bring that back into the house,
Right? Don't come back with that. Nachon. Everyone did, yeah. We went away last year Shabbos between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, And we stayed in a balcony in this massive building in the heart of Yerushalayim, in an apartment. I go out to the balcony, look at Yerushalayim. I see the balcony next to me is the sweetest couple. They're so giddy and everything. Young couple. Looks like, and the guy recognized me. Oh, Rav Shlomo. I'm like, he said who he was. I'm like, what's going on with you guys? You guys are sniffling. He's like, yeah, I just came back from the Rebbe. I said, and his wife was like so happy. She's shivering, and she's like, she went with you? He's like, no, I brought her a gift from I came back. I gave. Listen, every year it's something, right? So I heard Rav Weinberger saying yesterday in the Chaburas Yosef Atzadik, he was saying, because he's obviously getting many Lamaisa questions from people that live there, and he said, but you call it a mania, that your wife is a mania, like he said, why can't you go to Yerushalayim and be with the kibbutz of Chassidim that are in Yerushalayim? Meaning, what defines for you this inyan of feeling like really what you're saying? Like why can't it be? And you have a lot of tools in your arsenal already from many years of working on yourself that you were able to find an akuda and say, but they are, but they are. This the Alter Rebbe is speaking about a person that it seems to be like he's looking at everyone. He's like, I know everyone else is, I'm not, and I want to do something about it. So the Alter Rebbe is now addressing the person that's honest and saying, I'm going. Like I have friends that have gone to Uman, they've gone to the law. It's not, that doesn't do it for them.
Can I just?
Yeah.
I didn't think of it on Sligo's night, but the Nakuda here that I remember is Rav Maiman talking about. He was with Rav Michael Dorfman, and he's seen him dive into Kumar Klali thousands of times. He got all the way to the Tzion of Rav Nachman. I think it was snowy and it was not so easy to get there. He got there and he dived into it like without feeling. Closed the sefer and left, and they just looked around. His Talmidim just looked around each other. The next day they went to Breslau. He did it again and he stopped. After he started, I don't know, maybe second parak or whatever, he stopped, got down on the cover and just started breaking down crying. And then he continued, and then what happened? He's like, sometimes I just didn't feel like
Boom.
it's okay. I didn't feel it.
That's okay.
Boom.
And
That's the deepest Torah in the world.
We can't beat ourselves.
When we go on these trips, we always talk about the Chaim. Listen, the prep here is not. The prep is to learn, because the das of the learning about what the inyan is opens your heart, prepares you. But the Yetzer Hara is going to show up most when you think you're supposed to be feeling something. So the tachbula is, I'm not going to let this non-feeling ruin everything else about what's probably really emes right now. That's a Breslover approach. Let's see what he says. That's not exact, but that's an amazing story what you just said. You guys know who Reb Michael Dorfman was? You've heard of Reb Michael Dorfman, right? He was one of the skenim of Anash. He passed away, like 10 years ago? 12 years ago? Not too long ago. I was also to be in Uman one year when he was there. He was, oh my God, these guys, they're giants. I have to finish that. Yeah, this whole project, The Humble Giants, there's going to be a parak, a chapter on each one of those giants from the last generation. Reb Shmuel Shapira, I believe Yitzchak Bender, Reb Shmuel Chechik, these guys these dudes were they were the real deal.
Can I just say how fascinated I am? Like legitimately fascinated as to how many. I never experienced this dislike or distaste towards slichot before in my life. It's just not for me. Is it crazy to think that we look forward to it?
No, I do. The chevra that are in tune with the nusach and the music of it, and the pnimis of it look forward to it. I look forward to it, but it's a whole world. Baruch Hashem, it is what it is. There's a bunch of chevra that are not excited about
First night I
slichos.
could do it, and then I usually mess up the rest of the week.
After your after mincha, after your shir on Shabbat, Ellie comes over. He's like, "You were laughing the whole time." I wasn't laughing. I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
You don't get the non-connection to it.
Yeah.
Good. Ashrei. Yeah, what am I going to say to him? Oh, you're messed up. You have to. You need to not feel it. You need to not feel it. Okay, again, beginning of Perek Dada. Let's go. אך האדם אשר יפשע מעשיו, ולא יתעורר בו מידת רחמנות, ולא יתמרמר ליבו בקרבו. Bless you. I'm looking inside, got nothing. Sorry, nothing in here. אם היות שמעמיק מחשבתו, and he starts to think more about איך נפל ניצוץ אלוקות בגלות בתוך נפשו. Where did this piece of shtickle elokus, this little bit of godliness, go? זאת ישים אל ליבו ונשא עליו המשל הזה. This is what I want you to think about, the Rebbe is saying. כי היות. טבע האדם, what's the nature of man? כשכואב לו אפילו ציפורן רגלו, מחמת שנגף באבן, you stub your toe in a rock, your nail got hurt, מרגיש הכאב במוחו ומצטער. Where do you feel the pain? In your mind, and it hurts. In your brain. אך היינו, כשאיבר הנגוף עודנו מחובר בו טרם נחתך. This only happens before your toe is amputated. Meaning, as long as it's part of your body, you'll feel that pain. אבל כשחותכין האיבר, but let's say, God forbid, your toe is amputated, and then you take that toe and you stub it into a wall, אין המוח מרגיש את הכאב. The mind does not feel that pain. מפני שהוא נחרט ונפרד משורשו. Because it was completely removed from its source. כך אנחנו בני ישראל מחוברים ודבקים בו יתברך. The Alter Rebbe is saying, sorry, there is no such thing as amputation when it comes to this stuff. En davar kazeh. Doesn't exist. You cannot amputate yourself from the Makor Neshamas of Am Yisrael.
You're saying me, you feel it because the Kadosh Baruch Hu implanted in us a neshama. So
Right.
regardless, you can't disconnect it.
And
Sounds
no
similar to
such-
what
no
we're saying
such
on Erev Shabbos, how Hashem gave us the gift, whether we feel
Something else.
Shabbos or Shabbos or something else.
Right.
Hashem gave us the gift of
Right.
Shabbos, whether you like it or not. It's there.
like Rav
You
Shlomo
like it
once
or
said,
not.
he said, Rav Shlomo once said to someone that said to him, how do I deal, like what do I do when an atheist comes to me and tells me he doesn't believe in God? How do you begin that conversation? So he says, first of all, you just don't believe them. Like, yeah, that's what they're saying, but it's not like, oh, okay, let's go from there. No, you believe that there nefesh elokis mimal mamish in there. That's Aleph. So he says, כך אנחנו בני ישראל מחוברים ודבקים בו יתברך. ולכן, צריכים אנחנו להרגיש הכאב. As much as you don't want to feel the pain, sorry, you're still connected. You need to feel the pain. והפגם שפגמנו, and the blemish that we blemished, by what? By bringing Hashem down, by bringing this concept of Elokut down into Galut, ניצוץ אלוקותו יתברך. כי, אף על פי שחטא, what's the rest of that statement of Chazal? אף על פי שחטא, you guys know this? It's from the Gemara. Yisrael hu. אף על פי שחטא, Yisrael hu. That even though he sinned, he's still a Yid. ויש לו בחינת ניצוץ אלוקות הנ"ל. Yeah, you're less and less sensitive to it because that spark is more and more and more in galut, layer after layer after layer after layer. אבל מה זה משנה? ואיננו מסתלק ממנו אלא שהוא בו גלות. ולא עוד, אלא שעדיין נקרא במעלות ומדרגות השר, שהוא בחינת ישראל הנ"ל. Guess what? You're still in the ranks, you're still under a ministry. Why? Because the name, אף על פי שחטא Yisrael, who means you still have that governing force inside of you called Sar Kel. Like we said before, the governing of the Rahmanut inside of you. But it's really, really deep down inside. Obviously, כי אינו דומה מעלת השר עם היותו בשביה למעלת האידיוט. Obviously, you can't compare when the minister is in captivity as opposed to not being in captivity. כי עדיין ניכר וידוע מעלתו של השר. Because even if, you ever see, I don't know if you've ever seen this, you ever see a leader of a government being taken through a queue? Do you ever see what they look like? For instance, did you see Mubarak during his trial? Did any of you ever see what he looked like, Hosni Mubarak, during his trial? And this is Lahavdil Elef Alfi Havdalas, okay? But Mubarak was the Egyptian president or prime minister? President? Nasi.
Same thing.
Same thing there,
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So right, then they had that whole thing happen in the Arab Spring, whatever they called it.
Mm-hmm.
So then he was taken into captivity. Now for us growing up in Eretz Yisrael, I watched him on the news my whole childhood. That was something that's, it was always in the news. seeing that guy go into captivity was pretty shocking. Yet, I saw this. You could still tell that he was the president of Egypt, even in captivity. I'm going to go even more crazier, lahavdil. Who am I going to say?
Stood on his
Yes,
feet. He looked
yes. He looked terrible when he was caught.
terrible. Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm talking about I'm talking about, he wasn't in captivity then, he was hiding. I'm talking about when he was officially taken into captivity. And then he was in jail. And then he would come to trial. What did he look like there?
Oh, he was cocky again, wasn't he?
Bidiyuk. So again, even when this chavra that have governing attributes are taken, if that's who you are, if that's who you become, that's in you also when you're in what's called here, what did he say? Shivya, in captivity.
Something like para, like the hardening of the heart, what's already there is being
It's
strengthened.
there, it's there. Yeah, I mean, even if, it's there already. Nothing you can do about it, yeah.
Your status isn't governed by your geography.
That's so deep. Your status isn't governed by your geography.
It's not defined by your
Correct. Correct.
However you want.
Correct. So that's what he's saying over here. That's what he's saying over here. And therefore, if that's the case, by us, lahavdil, no one's standing over us and putting us in jail and behind bars and putting us into captivity other than ourselves. So therefore, look what the Alter Rebbe says here, second to bottom line. Ubitznua achat, with one movement, yachol sheyapech min hahepech el hahepech legamre, lachzor lekadmuto. If that's the case, Eli, what was the line you said?
Your status is not governed by your geography.
Which means that because my status is still my status, all I since no one's standing over me with a whip, I can with one movement, like let's say like this direction is to the shivya, is more and more into captivity, right? So Yamach Shemal, Saddam, and Mubarak had people holding on to them, saying this is where you're residing, right? But the Alter Rebbe says, in one moment, all I have to do is do what? Is go like this. Am I out of captivity? Yes.
So my Brody told me that for a period of time, Garden of Amuna was the #1 selling book in the Alabama State Prison. And he said the reason was because he thought what you just said right now, which is, you're in captivity, look up.
Wow. That's exactly it.
Joseph was in the bar, but
Nachon.
a second later he was out of the bar.
Nachon. Bitznua acha. Reminds me of what Rabbi Shechter says before Ne'ilah. Because here the Alter Rebbe says with one tnua, you can change your so Rabbi Shechter, Rabbi Moshe Shechter Shlita always says Oshana Shah Achas, right? Shah Shlishot means to turn.
One turn towards. Yeah.
It's one turn. Ach.
Is it thought or action?
So here he's saying he didn't say thought or action, actually. But it starts with a
I don't
thought.
understand. What is the turn? What is the turn?
Well, it has to start with a thought. It's the shoresh, right? But it can't end with a thought. But when you're in captivity, like Yossi was saying, I mean, I guess it's an action too. He said to actually move your head up, right? To turn your head up, really. But it's an initial thing. It's not a whole. You didn't change your whole world, but you got a sense of like, there's no one governing over me besides Hashem, and that's something I choose to want to be governed over. That's connecting already right then. You began to pull out the godly spark from Galut in that moment. You began to pull it out. Bottom line. Just a few more minutes. But when I don't feel in my soul the pain or the blemish, which can happen, now the Alter Rebbe says, "Oh, but wait a second. It may feel that you've amputated yourself, because nothing is moving you. Not Stevie, nothing. There's not. Sorry. Now you're. That, by the way, means you're in. You understand, right? We've all. He just basically inducted you. That's what it really means. I mean, more or less. Trust me. That means you're in. So he's saying, but so there are those that are saying, listen, it feels like an amputation. It does. Shum davar lo nogea li. Shum davar lo mezuz li. Nothing's moving me. So he says, at that moment, ומזה אדרבה יעורר רחמים יותר גדולים, אם היות שאינו מרגיש רחמנות על עצמו, כמו שכתוב במקום אחר, על מאמר ברחמך הרבים רחם עלינו פירוש, מפני שאנחנו, אין שכלנו הדל משיג גודל הרחמנות. כי מידת רחמנות מידתו של יעקב מבריח מן הקצה לקצה. So he says over here a very deep thing, which is really a prep for what we're going to continue and finish on Wednesday, Be'ezrat Hashem Yisrael D'Shmaya, is that there are situations that we work so hard on trying to feel something, and we've tried everything. The question is, at that moment, do you give up and say, it's just not meant for me? It's not meant, this is, the godly divine plan is that I'm not meant to be in the Parsha. Or do you have this place inside of you that says, at that moment, exactly that moment, Hashem Yisbarach, I feel nothing. I don't feel anything. Your Rahmanas is much greater than whatever I can arouse on myself. That's what he's saying over here. We have no idea. The Midah of Yaakov Avinu, Mavriach min hakatze el hakatze. That's a term used about the Mishkan. There's called a Bariach HaTichon. That means like a central beam that went through the whole Mishkan, which kept everything intact, actually. That, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, that's the Midah of Yaakov Avinu. Shemavriach min hakatze lakatze. He goes through everything that you could ever imagine. That beam is there. It's always there. But Hashem, I've done everything I can. I need you. I need you to arouse something in me that's way beyond my capacity. But to say that not with anger and not even with expectation, just with the recognition of that's where I've come to in my life. Now that word is called hachna'a. Hachna'a doesn't mean ani nichna, I give up. It means I give in. I give in that this is the reality that I don't want to be here. But Yosef connected to what you were saying before. I'd rather not be here. I'd rather be someone that knows how to use a tactic and arouse compassion and works, and I have something to hold on to, and I go up. But Hashem, obviously, this is something that...
It's like you said that night, we don't really know what it is I don't want to botch your words, but we're crying for help. We don't know where we are now, or we don't know what we're asking for.
I don't know where we are. Here it's also we don't know what we're asking for. In that context, it was like... Mommy, come get me. Where are you? I have no idea, but you better come and get me. Nachon. Now, what does it take to say that line? What? Huh? Like bittul and achna to the mamash. Like real bittul and achna. Because we always want to say, okay, Hashem, I'm here. Come get me from here. And then there's moments where like the Alter Rebbe is saying, but then there's a person that's like, I'm trying to arouse everything about any type of love and compassion on my soul. I got nothing. Okay, let's meet you there. Go there. Let's meet each other in that place too. You know, that's a very important avodah. It takes so much achna and bittul to go to that place, because we want so badly to be part of the chevra that are feeling. It's amazing. Sometimes I feel like when we're in a place and everyone's shuckling at a kumz, I want to stop sometimes and say, does anyone here actually feel anything, or are you just looking at the person next to you and that's what you're supposed to be doing? I'm not going to do it, but it's a taiva. It's a taiva to do it. But sometimes I'm at these kumzitzes and I'm like, I see like everyone's doing the shak, huh? And I want to look at it, it's like, what are you? You're an automatic, aren't you? This niggun just makes you to cut. What are you really feeling right now? It's like, well, I don't know, but he's feeling it. And I'm like, actually, I wasn't. I was looking at you. So I started shuckling, right? But I guess that's how it works, you know? I don't know. Huh? It's like taking rocks, right? But if you all mush them together on their own, they're not going to do anything. But if you just start shuckling them all together, you'll get a fire. Yeah, what do you want to say?
I was just thinking, I was in the forest one day, and...
home. You went home one day.
I went home. Yeah, I've been trying to go home a lot more. And, and I noticed there's like, it's in Vegan Park, there's a place where like the wind, you just like, it's like the most peaceful thing, you just hear the wind going. And I look up and I see this bird. And this bird just has its wings out, and it's just floating in circles. And it's not flapping its wings at all. And I was like, wow, like, I feel like we're like that bird where all we have to do is like put our hands out, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's the wind beneath us doing all the work. Like,
Hold on. Context? Come on.
beneath
Fast.
my
BM.
wind
He
beneath
got
my
it.
wings.
That's right. A Yid. Ben Midler. See? This is how it happens. This is how you start. Yeah.
You know, and I just felt like that's all we had to do. Our Yishtad, it's like, I got nothing. I put my hands out.
I got nothing.
And the Rabbi Shalom just, you're the one you're really running the whole show. You're really pushing us and like we're just like this.
And that's true.
Well, you got to do this.
And that's true. But
We're hang gliding.
right. But the avoda here is to remember that even when you are feeling something.
yeah.
Like that, when do you do the mental health exercises? When's the most important time to do the mental health exercises, the mindfulness, meditations and breathing? When's the most important time?
When not Eureka, but
When things are fine. Absolutely. When things are fine. 100%.
Like it's easy to have emunah when everything's going well.
But no, meaning
No, but
even
the
more
same- but like
exactly. So
yeah.
you're not gonna
Right.
push those
You
buttons.
still have to have emunah, not kochivot imedi. You still have to have the emunah when they're
But
going
it's-
well.
but
So you
it's
need to work on it.
You need to
Similar
do that
the
when it's
story,
good.
This person in State Bar Farm, he said, so let's say when you're swimming, right? When you go and you just let go and you float, right? But if you start fighting the water, you could drown. You start flapping, you could drown. But if you just lay back, how do you not drown? Float.
Yeah.
You would think it's the opposite. What do you mean? I'm in the water. If I don't flap, I'm gonna drown. No,
Nachon.
just let go, and then you float.
The running in return, it's the running.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
That's where you gotta kick it in.
Because then when I need it when I'm losing it, I have more access. I do feel more empowered, and I feel like it makes more sense because I did it when I was healthy, whatever that means. I did it when I was healthy. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll finish this pack Be'ez Hashem on Wednesday. Okay. Shukran. You can leave it here, the pages, and we'll get it back.